Hi, my name is Melaniya Evdokimova, and I am a film student in Berlin. This is a project that I want to do for my final bachelor's film, and I'm really, really excited about it. So, Johanna Burn is a historical, psychological horror thriller that I've written and hopefully will get to direct. The story is based in the 16th century in a small town in Germany called Lemgo, which really exists. So it is something that is based off true events. There are multiple characters that did actually exist. So let's just say it's based on the truth with a little twist. But basically, yeah, the whole story happens in Lemgo, and back then in the 16th century, it's actually nicknamed Hexennest. So for those who know, it basically means witch nest, so nest of witches, I guess. And it's a town where, in all of Germany, where the most women and men were executed for witchcraft. And this mostly happened under the rule of the mayor, or as they called him, the Hexenbürgermeister, his name was Hermann Kruwel. And I actually stuck with his character, and this is kind of what this whole project is based about. It's about this man who was the mayor of that town, and he was responsible for if what the internet says is true, over 123 deaths of accusing them of witchcraft. And yeah, basically the story revolves around the guilt that this man keeps after having ordered his own daughter to execution. She was accused of witchcraft, and he goes to the church to confess. But that's when things start to kind of go south. First of all, this is not a man that would ever talk about his feelings. And what makes it worse is that he's not even Christian. Which is a fact, because Lemgo was actually going through almost of a religious rebirth, where people were choosing different religions at the time, and Calvinism was a big religion back then, at least in Lemgo. And I'm not sure if the real Hermann Kruwel was Christian or not, but in my story he's not. And it's actually his first time going to this church, because it's kind of his last resort to get rid of this guilt. And yes, things start to get a bit weird and a bit dark, to be honest, when he starts to talk about this topic. I think what makes it more interesting is that he's not even confessing to anyone, in a sense. I think he's confessing to himself. Psychology is a really big play in all of this story. I think it's one of the things that makes it really, really interesting. And yeah, I think things do get dark, and I think that's what makes it really cool and really exciting. I think the films that inspired me the most for this project were The Witch, Sleepy Hollow, and Gretel and Hansel. I think they're all on the same kind of wavelength of what I want to make. I think aesthetically and audio wise, they really, really inspired me. I really, really like them a lot. And yeah, I really hope that this project can potentially be turned into something more. I think not only is the historical aspect of it something that interests a lot of people. I don't know, I've always had a weird obsession with these kind of dark history stuff. So witch burnings, the plague, next film, question mark. But yeah, I'm overall really excited for this to hopefully be sent off to some film festivals. I'm hoping that the Belgium film festivals would be really interested in it, maybe some German ones, because it's German history. That would be really interesting to me. But yeah, overall, so far it's been a proof of concept, not only to you but also to myself, because it's definitely the aesthetic and the vibe that I want to continue working on and continue working with. The money that we're hoping to get would go to the crew, so supporting the people that are working really hard on this. It would go towards the location, which I'm hoping to get as accurate as possible I think overall most of the money is spent on this being historically accurate. I don't want to buy costumes on Amazon because it just doesn't make sense to me. I want this to look and really feel like the era. So I'm more interested in getting costumes from a costume fundus, which of course, does cost more money. Obviously, it's going to go on food for the crew as well. That's something that is vitally important to me on my projects. And last but not least, the rest of the money will go to equipment. I am very, very lucky and fortunate to be working with 25p, which I'm very, very excited about. But of course, there are still costs that would need to be covered. And that's really, really something that, is important. I would also want to use this money for driving around the equipment, transportation for the actors, and just kind of not making people spend more money than they should on this project. I would also want this money to go to festivals because, as most of us know, festivals also cost money for admission, even if they don't select you. So to give this movie a bigger chance, I would really, really appreciate anything, from anyone. €1 per person is already a huge deal. And I'm eternally grateful for anybody that wants to support me on this. And yeah, I'm just really excited for this to come true and having you guys, maybe either support or just watch me through the process. So thank you.